The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 3 cycles when Marcus Chen stumbled upon it. His salvage vessel, the Tinkerer's Hope, wasn't much to look at. A patchwork of human ingenuity held together by improvised welds and stubborn optimism. But it had gotten him this far into the outer reaches. Another derelict, Marcus muttered, running diagnostic scans on the massive vessel drifting in the void. The ship was Vacrian, judging by the crystalline hull architecture. The Vacrians were one of the galaxy's elder races, their technology elegant and precise, built on principles of quantum harmonics that most species couldn't begin to comprehend. Marcus could barely comprehend them either, but that had never stopped him before. He docked with the crippled flagship and cycled through the airlock. The interior was dark, emergency lighting casting purple shadows across corridors designed for beings twice his height. Marcus adjusted his translator implant and followed the sound of clicking mandibles. The Vacrian crew had gathered in what appeared to be the command chamber. 17 insectoid figures stood in a circle around a central podium, their crystalline carapaces dim with distress. The largest among them, wearing what Marcus assumed were command insignias, turned compound eyes toward him. Human. The word came through his translator with barely concealed disdain. "You respond to our beacon?" "Marcus Chen, freelance engineer," he replied, offering a smile that the Vacrians probably couldn't interpret. "Looks like you've got engine trouble." "Our harmonic core has destabilized," the commander explained, each word clipped with frustration. "We cannot recalibrate without a full dock facility. We have sent for our fleet, but they are 6 cycles away. Our life support will fail in 4. Marcus whistled low. "Mind if I take a look?" The commander's antennae twitched in what might have been incredulity. "You, a human? Our technology operates on principles that took our species millennia to master." "Yeah, I get that a lot." Marcus was already moving toward the engine room, following the schematic his scanner had pulled up. "But here's the thing about humans. We're really good at fixing stuff that's broken, especially when we don't fully understand how it works." The engine room was a cathedral of impossible geometry. The harmonic core floated in the center, a sphere of condensed quantum states that pulsed with sickly, irregular light. Around it, crystalline conduits carried energy in patterns that made Marcus's eyes hurt if he looked too long. He pulled out his toolkit, an embarrassing collection of archaic tools compared to the Vacrian technology around him. Plasma torch, magnetic calibrators, a roll of industrial adhesive tape that had saved his life more times than he could count. "The frequency modulation is collapsing," one of the Vacrian engineers explained, hovering nervously as Marcus approached the core. "The quantum states are falling out of alignment. Without proper harmonic resonance, the entire system cascades into failure." Marcus nodded, not really understanding half the words but recognizing the problem. Something was vibrating wrong. The core needed to sing in harmony with the rest of the ship, but it was hitting flat notes. He studied the conduits, traced the energy patterns, and spotted the problem. One of the crystalline channels had a hairline fracture, nearly invisible, throwing off the entire resonance cascade. "I need to bypass this conduit," Marcus said, already pulling out a coil of thermal conductive wire from his kit. "Impossible," the Vacrian engineer protested. "The tolerances are measured in quantum wavelengths. Any crude approximation would—" Marcus had already started working. He couldn't match the elegance of Vacrian engineering, but he could create a workaround. He bridged the fractured conduit with his wire, calibrated the magnetic field with his handheld tools, and then, in a move that made every Vacrian in the room recoil, he stuck a piece of adhesive tape over the fracture to stabilize it. "What are you doing?" the engineer shrieked. "Creating sympathetic resonance," Marcus replied, fine-tuning the bypass. "Your system's too elegant, it can't compensate for imperfection. But if I introduce a controlled imperfection here and here, it forces the harmonic to stabilize around the new pattern, rather than collapse completely." He activated the bypass. The core flickered, sputtered, and then blazed with steady light. The ship's systems hummed back to life around them. Lights brightened. Air circulation resumed. The quantum harmonics weren't perfect anymore. They had a slight wobble, a human touch of imperfection, but they worked. The Vacrian commander rushed into the engine room, antennae quivering with what Marcus hoped was excitement rather than rage. You fixed it," the commander said, disbelief saturating every syllable. "Temporarily," Marcus admitted. You'll need proper repairs at a dock, but this'll get you there with life support intact. The commander approached the command podium and pressed several crystalline controls. A holographic display materialized, showing dozens of Vakrian vessels approaching their position. "The fleet arrives," the commander announced. Then, in a gesture that seemed to pain them deeply, they tapped another control. As is traditional, the one who restores the flagship's function is granted temporary command authority until the fleet admiral arrives. Marcus blinked. "Wait, what?" "You have command," the Vakrian engineer confirmed, antennae drooping with resignation. "It is our oldest law. The ship recognizes you now." As if in response, the command podium lit up beneath Marcus's hands. The entire Vakrian fleet, 17 warships strong, appeared on the tactical display, all transmitting recognition signals to him. Marcus Chen, human salvager and freelance engineer, accidentally found himself in command of one of the most powerful fleets in the sector, all because he'd known how to use duct tape and improvisation. The commander stood rigid, clearly struggling with the situation. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Marcus looked at the fleet, at the repaired core still humming with its imperfect human fix, and laughed. Only humans, he thought, could bumble their way into military command with nothing but stubbornness and adhesive tape. "Well," he said, settling into the absurdity of it all. "First order, someone get me a proper chair. This podium's murder on my knees." The Vakrians exchanged bewildered looks, their crystalline carapaces clicking in confused harmony. In that moment, Marcus knew he'd have stories to tell in every dive bar from here to Earth. If he survived the next few cycles anyway.